What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Bronx Pinstripe Show. Welcome back, Scott. Back from the dead. You missed our
back from the dead. Kind of.
You missed our drafting of Yankees All-Stars all the way back to 1980. That was fun. I didn't quite understand the rules fully, but that's all right. I don't think my team won in the social media vote, but hey, it was a fun episode anyway. Welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah, COVID has destroyed my world for the week, and I'm like halfway living right now. So figured we'd get back on and talk about what I've been doing in one room for the week, watching Yankees baseball, watching them lose to the Cincinnati Reds, and Logan's team was the best, by the way.
Yeah, it was tough.
It wasn't actually close.
It wasn't. I mean, I even admitted that after the draft. I was looking at
you had Jose Trevino in your lineup.
Well, we couldn't draft more than we couldn't draft the same player. Jorge Posada couldn't be picked.
Except for Derek Jeter, who was drafted 3 times, which was
because there was no other shortstops.
Look, I will say that when I saw you guys planning this thing in the chat, my head was spinning.
Mine was too. That's why I didn't understand the rules.
No clue. I had no idea what you guys were doing, and it was just like all over the damn place. And then you find it seemed like everybody was on the same page at the end. I'm like, okay, these guys have something. I still had no idea. My brain was at like 10% capacity at that point. But so then I just saw the aftermath, and Logan's team is the best by far.
Well, he also I think was in the best draft position, even though there's only 3 people. He had the middle pick each time. So, I don't know. No excuses. I was confused by the rules. That's my excuse. Also, I was stuck with retirement tour Derek Jeter as my shortstop, so it's not exactly an optimal lineup.
That's all right, man. What are you going to do?
But yeah,
we Cincinnati. I was watching that. That was my entertainment.
It's a tough time. Like, had you gotten COVID and been stuck just watching Yankees baseball when they were just rolling in May, that could have been a little bit better than watching this shit show of a Cincinnati Reds series.
I will say on Wednesday night was it Tuesday? Whenever they blew the chase, whenever Holmes chase my head still. This is going to be awesome. But Holmes, when he came in and blew that game, so I admittedly fell asleep before that inning, and they were up. I didn't mean to fall asleep. I just fell asleep.
Understandable.
The body took over. And I woke up right after that inning happened, and the Reds were up. And I thought I was dreaming. I thought I was watching Stranger Things, and it was like, I was in Bizarro World or the Upside Down. Something was not right. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. The Cincinnati Reds actually came back against the behemoth of the back of the Yankees bullpen. But no, that was real. That was a real thing.
Well,
very strange.
It wasn't just you in the upside down. Apparently Clay Holmes was in the upside down too, because he wasn't even close to the strike zone. Like, I know he hasn't been around, forever, but I've never seen him. I've borderline never seen a pitcher that wild. Couldn't even come close.
Do you not remember Garrett Cole in Detroit earlier in the season?
Okay, fine. But like he would try and throw a sinker in the middle of the plate and would hit a guy in the ribs. It's like, what's happening here?
Speaking of hitting somebody in the ribs, Abreu lit that kid up last night against Cincinnati. The 2-seamer inside. I mean, rib shot. That was one of the hardest rib shots I've seen in a long time. That he took it, and you could tell that it hurt.
Yeah. So I mean, I can imagine that you were extremely confused looking at the score after that Tuesday game as to what happened. You have to give Holmes a mulligan. It's like, okay, well, that's never happened. Hopefully, it never happens again. Like, what are you even gonna say? Like. And the Yankees almost got out of it. Like, Peralta almost pulled a Houdini act and got out of it. Maybe there was a double play to be had at the plate that could have got them out of that jam. But that's one of those situations where it obviously is extremely annoying and frustrating that the Yankees lost that game. But there's not even something that you're like second guessing, because you're like, oh, the Yankees had a lead in the 9th and they went to Clay Holmes, who has been unhittable all season, and they lost the game. Like, it was kind of... I'm not comparing the two pitchers, but it's kind of like whenever Mariano Rivera would blow a game. It's like, oh, did Joe Torre make the wrong pitching change going to Mariano Rivera? It's like, okay, sometimes shit happens.
Yeah, that's baseball, Susan. Sometimes the gods go against you, and that's it. So it's funny when I was looking at the All-Star rosters this morning just to see who the updates were.
Our All-Star rosters or the real All-Stars?
No, all of them across baseball. Not your rosters from Wednesday. I looked at that for 2 seconds and didn't need to look at it anymore. Go
listen to the episode.
But I saw Joe Mantiply on Arizona as an All-Star, and I was like, I know that name. And then I was like, Mantiply.
Mandelbaum.
He was with the Yankees in 2019, and it just goes to show you how relievers are, their shelf life and what they can be in a given season, and then be something so very different in the next year or year after that. So, Cashman has been extremely right with a lot of these relievers, but man, these guys just they're depending on they can make some slight adjustment at any point in their career and be extremely effective for a year plus if they want to be. And it's not if they want to be, but if they find the right concoction or the right tweak to their game. It just goes to show you how these how there's just a lot of them that can be very effective, because he was a guy that was he was a lefty that came up during the season that everybody didn't think twice about. And now he's an all-star.
Yeah, the relief pitcher, it's a really weird position because the burnout is super quick for a lot of these guys, but the high end of their talent and what their performance is also super high. We kind of talked about this in the last episode when we were drafting the All-Stars. The deepest position to pick from was relief pitcher. Like throughout the decades that we were looking at, there was 3 guys each decade that had elite level all-star seasons, all the way back from Goose Gossage and Righetti into the 90s with obviously Rivera, and then in the Betances and Andrew Miller and Aroldis Chapman. Like, the Yankees have always had elite level pitching in the bullpen ever since Brian Cashman has been the general manager. It's his number one strength by far, is acquiring and finding talent in the bullpen.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
And that also means that some guys that he's let go or traded have turned into all-stars because those guys are talented.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you can't keep them all, first of all, because you have to pay them, and you just can't do that when you have years like this. So, yes, you will see these guys pop up. And I'm sure other fan bases are looking around the league and saying, oh, I remember that guy. Pittsburgh's every Pittsburgh fan is probably like, what the fuck is
Are they
happening?
though? They're like, what are they going to do with a closer? like the Pirates.
Well,
the Pirates have no need for a closer right now.
Yeah, but they could look across starting pitching as well. They could go across many different positions and just
what they
angry.
could be kicking themselves for is like, oh, had Clay Holmes been elite with us, we could flip him at the deadline for some prospects or something like that, rather than nothing.
Or just make terrible trades and give up starting pitching as well. I mean, they've been bad.
Oh yeah, they've
given up. There are a lot of really good former Pittsburgh Pirates in Major League Baseball right now.
Sure. So I was looking at the monthly stats for the Yankees. So far in the month of July, they're 6-6, and I was like trying to figure out why. Because the offense has actually on the surface been really, really good. They've averaged 6.8 runs per game. They're hitting 281 as a team, and they've got a 146 WRC plus through 12 games. Like, those numbers are fantastic. But the offense, I think, has been a little bit skewed. There's been 3 blowouts so far in the month where they scored more than 10 runs. So that's obviously going to skew numbers. There's been 3 games this month so far that they've scored fewer than 4 runs. So, okay, you can average the blowouts and the below 4 runs, but still, the offense has not been the problem so far. It's been the pitching. The team pitching they're pitching to a 4.24 ERA this month and a 4.37 FIP. They are allowing 4.7 runs per game, and it's really the starting pitching that has been terrible. 4.68 ERA, 5.76 FIP. They're allowing 2.6 homers per 9 innings, the starting rotation so far this month.
No, that's not great. I mean, it's at the same time, when we're looking at these numbers and we saw what the first half was, it's not unexpected either. I mean, Nestor pitched well last night. He pitched very well. I thought he looked as good as he's looked in a while.
He needed that too, because like getting named an all-star, getting named to be an all-star, coming off like pretty much 4 out of 5 pretty bad starts. He really needed a good start.
That's the thing, though. You have this sample size of half a season, and you look across baseball, and the majority of players, even the high end guys that everybody expects, dominant stuff from them starting pitching, they have 5 bad starts. You throw in 5 bad starts, and Nestor throw in some bad starts for him. This is just the way it has to be. It has. But
the difference with Nestor.
Can't be great.
The difference with Nestor is that we're all expecting like the other shoe to drop on Nestor.
I understand that, but I think people need to stop expecting that, because he's had a long enough term here, so dating back to the All-Star, mid-season last year, where he's just been fantastic.
What's the total innings now for Logan? Can you look this up? Total innings that Nestor has with the Yankees so far. Like, is it equivalent to a full season? Are we?
It's
at a full
pretty
season?
close.
It's got to be pretty close.
Yeah. So I mean, he's put down on paper now what I believe he is and what he can be, and enough teams and players have seen him now for the first half and going back into last year with this newest Nestor, and they have every ability to make the adjustments at this point. And now it's Nestor's turn. He made some unbelievable tweaks to his windup last night that I thought were hilarious.
He was getting crafty. He
was fooling the umpire. Like he like faked out the umpire like 3 or 4 times, and it was hilarious. Logan.
So it's actually, his numbers are they're crazy. He just made his 31st start.
That's
39
season.
games.
Yeah, that's a full season.
He's pitching 39 games because he started relieving when he came back last year. 188 and 2/3 innings to a 2.77 ERA and a 1.44 ERA plus. I mean, like,
no, that's
great. It's all-star caliber.
I mean, it's not just all-star caliber. That's elite caliber. The 31 starts, that's like ideal for a starting pitcher for a full season. Like if you can get 30 starts out of a guy. What are his numbers? Can you get his numbers just as a starting pitcher? Do you have that? Probably have to give you a second to grab it.
But
no. So that's a full season. That's
solid judgments. Yeah. And it's not. There's nothing. So that other shoe it shouldn't be dropping. Like this is him. This is his. He's put enough down to be labeled as a consistent starting pitcher at this point, and I believe that he's made the adjustments at a point in his career where he can sustain them, and I think he's proved so far that he can sustain them.
Well, I think part of it is that, like, I'm not like getting on Michael Kay and Paul O'Neill and like the Yes Network crew for this, but I feel like every time Nestor Cortes starts, there's this discussion about, can you believe he's still doing it? It's like, all right, guys, already, like it's been 31 starts, like we just said, like maybe let's just talk about why he's been struggling. Like, what are you seeing? Why has he struggled over the past month? Like, how is he going to fix it? Like, no more of this. Can you believe this guy? Crafty mustache. Like, all right, I got it. It's fun. I got it.
Yeah. He looks like all of us. Him and Jose Trevino are the everyman doing fantastic things on the diamond for the New York Yankees. But so I'm not waiting for it. I'm not waiting for that shoe to drop. I'm here, and I'm confident now. Consistently when he takes the ball, even if he has a bad start, I'm looking at that more of like what happened there, rather than here it comes.
Well, let's talk about this starting pitching confidence right now. Like, what's your rank in order your confidence level of the guys going out to the mound? Now, obviously, Severino is also going to miss some time with the low grade lat strain. That was clearly something was wrong with him. Like his velocity was down. He was leaving balls in the middle of the plate. The bottom of the order took him deep 3 times in a row. You're like, okay, what's going on here? It almost had to be an injury, because if it wasn't, you're almost like, well, what happened? So rank your confidence. Like, what's your order?
I mean, it's tough to do that right now because of
there's
who's
4 guys.
So I would say
of the 4 guys that are still making.
I'm still
starts.
like Garrett Cole's my number 1 confidence, and Nestor's number 2, and I would put Jordan Montgomery number 3.
It has to be,
and then Tyone 4, because he's been bad. He's been very bad recently. So
Very bad.
With the Severino injury, obviously everybody was holding their breath with that MRI. Thankfully, it was a low-grade strain, which to me means no tear or anything like that, which is rest. As rest, they'll shut him down for probably I bet he shut down for a month. Wouldn't surprise me if he should. Yeah. So if he can come back from this, and could it be a little bit of a blessing in disguise with the amount of innings that he's saving his body? Maybe. I mean, I never want to root for an injury by any means, or say that an injury is a good thing, because it's not. But at the same time, it's going to get him to a point where hopefully he's able to be a lot stronger for the stretch, a lot stronger. If he can rebound from this. That's a big if, because you never know with a guy who's been injured as much as he has, how he will rebound. So we'll see what happens. But now Herman coming up is a big deal.
Yeah, quickly, I want to just close out the discussion we're having on Cortez. 31 game start, 2.82 ERA, 169 innings pitched as a starting pitcher for Nestor Cortez in his Yankees tenure. No, I agree about the Severino point. They were going to have to manage his innings anyway. Obviously, he's going to be shut down longer than they would have. But you're right. If this injury is truly just mild and he can come back, then it could be a blessing in disguise. That's a glass half full outlook. The glass half empty outlook is that, okay, he also had a similar injury back in 2019 that basically derailed his last 3 seasons. Are we setting ourselves up for
make no mistake, I would much prefer him not to have this injury and then to manage his innings in some capacity. Make no mistake about that, because yes,
you're digging deep to find a positive in this.
For sure. But when you have any injury that is around a lat like he's had in the past, then it's cause for concern, no doubt.
Yeah.
I think, but what this is doing now is just like doubling down that Cashman is at least they're showing what they really need right now.
Oh, so this is by design. The Yankees are like, well, the deadline's coming up. Let's make sure Brian Cashman's like,
God, give me a sign. Any sign will do. 3 home runs.
Well, I think when we recorded our trade deadline GM episode 2 weeks ago, we all identified outfield as the number 1 priority. I wouldn't say that anymore. Not that outfield is not a priority, and not that they don't need outfield, because what is Joey Gallo now, like 4 for 60? Like this is getting. He
has 4 hits.
This is getting obscene.
You know what? He's the guy where like high school ball or like summer league ball, when there's a guy on the team that just like is so much worse than everybody else. Like he can't talk to the other guys. He'd be like, "Oh man, really got me on that one." Like he can't say anything about the pitchers or any adjustment. Like he just can't say anything. That guy can't say shit because everybody's looking at him, kind of rolling their eyes. And that's Joey Gallo right now. Like he's walking back. Nobody's asking him what they saw. Nobody's saying anything to him because he's just another strikeout, another one in the book, and he's just. It's a joke.
He walked last night. He had a couple walks last night.
The pitcher threw balls to him. Do you know what a bad decision that was?
Do you know what annoyed me last night about Joey Gallo? There was one point where he took his helmet off and he's got that stupid floppy hair where it looks like he's wearing like a clown hat. And I'm like, you can't look like a clown and be 4 for your last 60. You can look like a clown if you're hitting bombs and you're actually producing. But just maybe have a normal haircut if you're gonna bat 100. Like I don't know. Just a thought.
I think that was the exact moment where I had this thought though too, because he was looking around to like say something and no one was talking to him. Nobody wanted to make no one's even making eye contact at that point. Just like, all right, like we get it. You struck out again. Just stop.
I feel bad. Like terrible. Part of me feels bad, right? Because
I don't feel bad. This is a baseball player getting paid a lot of money to play baseball. Make adjustments.
Obviously.
Make adjustments.
In the grand scheme of things, like Joey Gallo's set for life, right? He's making millions of dollars. But just like anything, when you're amongst peers and you're by far the worst of the bunch, and you are not doing anything to help the team.
Yeah.
And you go out there and you're trying and you're just failing.
Is he trying as hard as he possibly could? Is he trying as hard as he possibly could? Is he making
I have to
all
imagine
the adjustments?
I have to imagine that he doesn't want to suck. And so he's trying to not suck.
Are you
okay?
sure?
He is actively
he's made
trying
public
to
comments.
not suck.
He's made public comments saying, "I won't make it because this is how I got here. This is who I am. This is how I've got."
If he truly is that stubborn about his approach, then fine. But like, I have to imagine he's trying even a little bit. And when you try to do something and you still fail miserably, that stings. That hurts.
All I know is I'm looking at this. Every ball that goes near him in the outfield, I'm like, you better make a fantastic play right here. When he started running and stealing second base last night, I was like, you better goddamn make it to second base. You can never get thrown out at this point. You can't make an error. You can't get thrown out. You can't make base running blunders. You can't do anything wrong.
You can't have clown floppy hair.
Oh, I mean, apparently he can, but you can't do anything wrong outside of holding a bat, because you can't do anything right when you're holding a bat. So anything outside of holding a bat, you better be perfect.
And so what they've been doing is playing Carpenter in the outfield more, which again, I'm fine with because Carpenter's just been so amazing offensively, but we kind of saw Carpenter's inexperience in the outfield last night on two different plays. The one on the sac fly where he just didn't know where he was going to throw the ball, and then he ended up throwing it home for no reason. And then in the extra innings when he took a horrible route to the ball and couldn't cut off the ball in the gap. Like, who knows? Maybe if he holds that to a single, the inning is slightly different. And the Yankees, the home run he hit actually was because that's the thing. It's like I'm not even mad at Matt Carpenter because he is a end of his career former infielder put in the outfield, crushing the shit out of the ball. It's like, fine, cool.
His numbers next to Joey Gallo's with, I don't even half the time, less than half the time, are better. Like, not even close to being better.
Not just better.
I mean, production. I'm talking about production, purely production. Like, get rid of all the other things. Just look at the pure production numbers, and they're more productive.
How many?
It's crazy.
How many home runs is he up to?
11. I think he hit 11 last night. And Gallo's got 10.
Gallo has 10?
I believe so. Logan, fact check me, please. But he's got more runs batted in.
Can you recall
it's crazy.
More than 2 Joey Gallo home runs? The only ones I can recall are the 2 in Minnesota. That's the only 2 home runs I can remember of Joey Gallo.
I mean, honestly, just addition by subtraction at this point.
Joey Gallo has 10. Matt Carpenter has 11. Who finishes with more home runs this season for the Yankees?
It's not even close. Are you kidding me? It's Matt Carpenter. Of course.
So
if anybody on God's green earth chooses Joey Gallo in that situation, they need their head examined.
I did pick him to have the most home runs on the team.
You did. That's right. You did this to him.
Yeah, I did it to him because he was so good last year.
Well, you did this. Yeah, I forgot about that.
But so I don't blame Matt Carpenter for his poor outfield play. I blame Joey Gallo for Matt Carpenter.
I blame Joey Gallo for putting him out there. Yeah, he did make a nice play against the wall.
He did. No, he did. Yes,
and he'll get more comfortable. You know, keep putting him out there. I'd rather deal with him getting comfortable in the outfield than watch Joey Gallo play baseball.
Sure, absolutely, because Matt Carpenter. I'll tell you what, Matt Carpenter's trying in the outfield, and yes, I know he's going to get better.
He's frustrated.
Even if Joey Gallo is trying at the plate, he's not going to get better.
No, he doesn't know how to. So this is one of those things that I know we touched on this on Monday's show, but trade deadline, still like Carpenter, amazing story. He's on this team, no doubt, but his value is not as a starter. I believe his value is as that fourth guy, DH, the guy pinch hitter. Like he's so good with the bat right now, and I love his approach. I still want them to go after an everyday outfielder to solidify that. Someone who can go bat to ball, someone who can really just lock down that position and give me a quality at bat to move it along to get my top 4 guys up. Give me that.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that roster shuffling, roster versatility, because the Yankees reacquired Tyler Wade for a player to be named later from the Angels this week. He's back. The man is back. And Boone said excited to get him back in the organization. Obviously, the defensive versatility that he brings, his ability on the base paths. Not on the roster right now, but he could certainly envision him here at some point if the need arises to playing a role for us, and a significant one. What is this quote? So excited to get him back with us. He's an important part of these team. He's been an important part of this team the last few years.
Oh, yeah.
He's been an important part of this team.
Yes, he has.
Super important.
Very important.
And I got a text from my dad when the news broke. So finally some speed. And I didn't want to break it to my dad that Tyler Wade, not a good base stealer, despite his speed.
He's not the greatest. I mean, he's not Brett Gardner-like, but he's not the greatest. Look, I think this is interesting. So obviously they brought back a player that they're very familiar with, someone who could slot right into this roster and not skip a beat. He knows the guys, like all of that. That's cool. This is a last man on the. I've always said this, so don't get this twisted. He's always been a last man on the bench guy that I like because he brings that versatility on the defensive side. He can also run the bases, especially when you have these extra inning. Bojangles with the second base, like just having a guy like that is to me a good thing. It also means something that he plays shortstop, and I think that is super interesting because of what our trade value is with a certain guy in AAA. I think Peraza is 1,000% on the block right now. I think that Cashman is shopping him, and this is just added depth in case they can land a pitcher because they're using him for a pitcher. Peraza equals starting pitcher, in my opinion. So Tyler Wade just gives some defense there, gives a little bit of a cushion for the Yankees to be able to make a move like that and have a guy that can come up and play, solid defense in the shortstop position. So I like it. It's a good move.
Do you think he actually gets on to the 40-man and up on the Major League roster?
Yes, I do.
For who? Why?
Oh, I don't know. I think it happening at some point. I think
maybe an injury, obviously, but unless Marwin Gonzalez goes down, you don't need Tyler Wade.
No,
because Marwin Gonzalez, we looked at this, actually is playing solid shortstop.
Yes, he is. Marwin Gonzalez, if you put him there every day, would get exposed. I think his numbers you would not look at them the same because you would have enough time there.
Unless there's an injury.
Correct. But there's no rush with him right now. There's no rush. We were talking about this before. So he cleared waivers. The trade happened. He's in the minor leagues, not on the 40. That's great. That gives them ultimate flexibility. So he can hang out in AAA, hang out in Scranton where he knows it very well. And
he knows the streets of Scranton.
He knows the streets of Scranton. Yeah, he's probably hanging out in Jackson Frazier's old funeral home house, and he's going to. And he's gonna be ready for when the time comes.
That was the funeral home, wasn't it? Didn't they live above the funeral home?
That's what I just said.
Oh, you just said that.
Yeah, you don't listen to me.
Wasn't listening. So Logan asked in the chat, would you rather have Marwin Gonzalez or Tyler Wade? I'd rather have Marwin Gonzalez because anything to do with the past few years of these teams, I don't want any part of.
That's fair. I mean, that's ultimately fair, to be honest. But Marwin Gonzalez is playing very well right now. So I would. And I'm a Tyler Wade homer.
He's fine. He's fine. Marwin Gonzalez is fine.
Keep him. He's a much better bat, and he's playing solid defense.
But neither are there for their bat. I guess Marwin Gonzalez is there for when you do have to play him. It's something offensively. It's pretty much nothing offensively. But whatever. Again, this was my argument the whole. Whenever we would, I feel like we spent far too much time talking about Tyler Wade on this podcast. But whenever Tyler Wade would come up, my response would be, it ultimately does not matter. If our season is hinging on Tyler Wade, we screwed. Okay? That was true in 2019, 2020, 2021, and it will be true in 2022. That's
okay, let me rephrase what you just said. If our season hinges on the last guy on the bench, we're screwed. Correct statement.
So why are we spending so much time talking about Tyler Wade?
We're not. It's what it does is to me it's a chess move. It's a depth. You know that Cashman likes to have
everyone else playing checkers. Brian Cashman's playing chess.
You know that Brian Cashman and this team likes to have contingencies in their depth, and that's exactly what he is. So to me, it's just another little a little sign saying, hey, we're ready for business with our shortstops in the minor leagues. Let's talk. And for all the prospect hugging, loving fans, let me tell you what, this is not the season to be hugging any prospects at this point. I'm saying any. I would be fine with getting rid of any, to be honest, at this point. If the right situation is available, obviously I would try to avoid Volpe and Dominguez. But if the right situation is available for the right player who controlled enough that shows it on the major league level, I would be open to it, because this team is built right now for a championship, and they have to go after it. They have to go after this championship in 2022. If that means we're sacrificing potential in 24 and 25, so be it.
So actually, that reminds me of when it was Judge and Cone doing that interview on Sunday Night Baseball. Judge said that we're an older team. We're an older locker room. I forget the phrase he used.
Yeah. He said,
but that's true. They're veterans, right? Like, the Yankees did not prospect hug in the 90s because they had championship on the mind, and that was the goal. That season, it was the championship, because they had that core on the roster to win it now. Now, you can identify some trades, like trading away Mike Lowell and trading away some other guys that turned into really, really solid players that you're like, shit, wish I could have that one back. And that might happen, right? If you trade some of these guys, they might turn into 10-year All-Stars. And we look back in the year 2030 and we're like, that was a dumb trade. But if you have the championship, you can be fine. You can swallow it. You can get past it.
1,000%. If you win the championship, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because the ultimate goal is to win a championship with any player. So I don't understand.
That's why GMs are tentative, because winning a championship is really hard. And I think a lot of general managers, namely Brian Cashman, believes the playoffs are kind of random. So he's probably of this mentality. What can I control more? Can I control a 7-game series against the Astros or a 7-game series against the Dodgers in the World Series? No. But I can control the prospects on my team and what those players are going to turn into over the next decade.
How can you control it best with a roster like this? Pitching. That's how you can control it best. Pitching, especially at this point in the season. So if he has the ability to upgrade pitching significantly, knowing what you're going up against, that's what you do. That's what you do.
Yes. You have to. I mean,
the offense
at this
is
rate,
ready to go.
Absolutely.
This team is built in the correct way. It's good.
Even without an outfield bat. This offense is good enough to win a championship. I don't want Joey Gallo will not start a playoff game, right? So even if Joey Gallo is still on this roster in the second half of the season, he's not making the playoff roster.
So
okay?
What are we doing? So what are we doing?
No, I agree. But so, like, we don't even have to entertain the fact of Joey Gallo hitting 9th in the first game of the playoffs, because it's not going to happen. He's not going to be on the roster. Right. But if they don't get more starting pitching, they're going to be in trouble, because now with Severino down, Taillon being a non-factor, like, they need to do something with Taillon. Shut him down. Do something, because he's not serviceable right now. He's pitching to like a 6 ERA. You can't trot that out there. You have to probably slot in Domingo Germán. You have to go target a starting pitcher, maybe even 2 starting pitchers that you can use in the second half. And I saw a report, I think it was New York Post, Yankees and Dodgers
trustworthy
early
New York
favorites.
Post. Keep going.
For Luis Castillo. But obviously Luis Castillo has been talked about with the Yankees for years. He was filthy last night, took a no-hitter into the middle innings, and he's definitely going to be traded. It's going to take a boatload of prospects, because he's one of the top, if not the top pitcher on the market at the deadline. That
he's a free agent.
Going to get traded.
He got one more year? I forget. He's got.
No, I think he's a free. I believe he's free. But still, it's going to take a haul.
But
the Reds are not going to give him away.
I understand that. I'm
going to look up his contract.
If I was looking at it because I had him on my list. I think he is a free agent. So, but here's the thing. The other thing about Cashman looking for a sign. So 3 home runs by Severino. Boom, boom, boom. Sign. And who's throwing a no-hitter into the 6th inning against the Yankees?
He's not a free agent.
He's got 1 year.
He's not a free agent.
He's got 1 year after.
He's signed. Yeah. So his next year, his last year of arbitration eligibility is 2023. So you'd be acquiring him for a season and a half. It's going to take a lot.
Yeah. No, that's going to be a major haul. That's Peraza plus.
If you're the Reds and Brian Cashman calls you, you say Anthony Volpe or we're hanging up the phone.
But at some point, it's going to be best prospect. You're going to look for the best prospect package.
That's where the conversation's starting, though.
I mean, yeah, everybody's going to start there if you have anybody that's worth a damn.
Not everybody. It's like the Royals aren't going to ask for that for Andrew Benintendi.
No, for a pitcher. I mean, that has any control. Like, that's where he's going to start. They're going to start with the best prospect that you have. Yes. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, if you're going to go after it, go after it. Plus, you get another year of control. Like, it's a good thing.
Yeah, the other year of control is the thing that Cashman loves the most because he's adding insurance for next season. We've said this a million times. He's done it with every pitcher he's acquired. He does not acquire pitchers that are. I mean, Jay Happ was a free agent, but he doesn't acquire like that more younger starting.
He doesn't
pitcher
give up a lot,
extra,
and you certainly won't give up
control.
a lot. I mean, it was Sonny Gray was the same situation. That's why we went after the kid from the Marlins. Like it's controlled, gives some options here, especially with Tyone being a free agent. It's important for them to do that and solidify it. Logan, you got something?
Yeah, so I just sitting here listening, and I went to our favorite MLB trade simulator website for Luis Castillo. So he has a MTV of 38.5.
Yeah.
So I just threw together a trade of, would you do this? Everson Pereira, Jason Dominguez, Oswaldo Cabrera gets it done according to this. No Peraza.
What does that put it? Does that put it close?
38.5 to 38.
Oh wow, I would have. Dominguez is low on that site though.
He is
lower than I expected.
14.9. His value.
I think his value is higher than that. So, I mean, I think that site's a good barometer, but man, that's a lot. But maybe that's exactly what it takes.
I mean, Peraza, you could do it with Peraza, and I mean, Peraza's value is 20.3. So
I would rather give up Peraza than Dominguez all day.
Really? Okay.
Yes, because of the depth of shortstop, because of Volpe.
But Peraza's probably going to be the better player.
Is he? I don't think that's what people think.
I mean, he's a lot closer. He's not higher ranked prospect.
No.
He's
Volpe's the coveted shortstop in the Yankee system, right?
Yeah, 100%. But I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I'm comparing Peraza to Dominguez.
Okay, I hear that.
I think
I would rather.
Peraza's
I'm
better
looking
than
also
Dominguez.
at what we have, and I know that people are, for whatever reason, saying IKF, bring up Peraza. Like, no, please don't ever do that, because IKF, I understand he's frustrating at times with the mindless throws that he will clean up, I believe. But I mean, over the past week, you've seen what he is with the bat too. Like, the guy's just too good with the bat. He's exactly what this lineup needed. So you bring a guy like Peraza up, maybe you get slightly better defense, but probably not, and you're gonna get a lower graded offense.
But
the depth is there for Peraza. That's why that's to me why he's the number one target for.
If they're gonna trade him, they shouldn't even let him sniff the big leagues with the Yankees, because a lot of times they come up to the big leagues, they struggle, and they
I agree.
Take some sort of a hit. You know?
There's no reason for him to be in the major leagues this year unless there's an injury. Especially now with Tyler Wade. Especially now with Tyler Wade there.
That's a good point, because like if you call him up and he struggles, that decreases his value. If you call him up and he's good, his value is probably the same. It's like, yeah, everyone's like, oh yeah, he's a good prospect.
Also, side note, with Peraza in AAA and Tyler Wade now in AAA, Tyler Wade's playing a lot of outfield, right?
Yeah, because what does Tyler Wade need to do at shortstop?
I mean, he's not going to play there.
We know he can play shortstop. We know he can play second base.
Right.
I know, but it's like you play him in positions that you might need him at the major league roster.
I'm saying.
Outfield positions. Yeah. I don't know. Put him in catching gear. I don't freaking know.
He's no IKF.
He's no IKF. That's for damn sure. And we have not talked about Aaron Hicks is day to day after falling that ball.
Looked like it hurt.
Pretty brutal. Yeah. I think they dodged a bullet with him there, though. We've got Marinaccio throwing bullpen sessions, so he could have a quick return, according to Boone. That's good. He was dealing with some dead arm. Rortvet made a rehab assignment in high A ball. And Zach Britton is in Tampa.
Doing something.
I guess he's in Tampa. He's at the facility.
Picking things up and putting them down.
So the Yankees got the Red Sox coming into town before the All-Star break. Red Sox have been terrible. They just got swept, and the only 2 games that they've won over the past week and a half are against the Yankees. But there is some interesting pitching matchups. They've got Evaldi going tonight against Montgomery, Pivetta against Taillon on Saturday. Like, I have no confidence in Taillon right now. And then Sale versus Cole on Sunday, the premier matchup. And Sale was pretty damn good in his return, even though they lost that game.
Yeah, give me Taillon here for the availability or the opportunity to bounce back right before the break. I like that. I feel like that's a good thing for him. Get some time off. But no, I'm looking at that one. Of all the ones, I mean, obviously Sale and Garrett Cole on Sunday is going to be fun. It's so funny how the scheduling works with that one not being Sunday Night Baseball, but here we are. It's a day game on Sunday. Yankees-Red Sox, Cole versus Sale, which is one of the most rare things I think in the world at this point. But I'm squarely looking at that Taillon-Pivetta matchup because I think Taillon really, really needs to come out with a good start and show that he can be effective.
How much do you put into ending before the All-Star break on a positive note? Because if you remember, it was last year, right? The Yankees blew that game against Houston. They were about to sweep the Astros with Chad Green on the mound. And we started recording a podcast because the Yankees had a pretty nice lead in the 9th inning. And then they blew it. And we were like, oh, they had a fun series. They were doing the jacket thing or the shirt thing with mocking Jose Altuve. And now the Astros have the last laugh. And it was just kind of a sour note to end the first half. So how much stock do you put into have a good series this weekend?
I don't think it's a ton of stock, to be honest, with the team playing as well as they are. It's an opportunity to really stick it to Boston at home, though. So I think at home it's a little different. So I want them to play well, obviously. I think that they take 2 or 3. I think if they lose 2 or 3, it's not great momentum going in because they've lost 4 of 5. Is that right? And we haven't said that all season. So this team is in a place where they do need to rebound, and Boston coming into town is perfect for that. So I think I'm not just looking at this series, I'm looking at what's happened in the past week and a half, and I want them to rebound and play well against Boston because they should have taken the series last weekend against the Red Sox, and they did not. So I want them to make things right and take the series.
And it's not an easy return after the All-Star break. 2 games in Houston and a doubleheader, and then a 3-game series against the hottest team in baseball, the Baltimore Orioles.
Watch out, 10 in a row. Above 500. The entire AL East is above 500. That's crazy. They are playing very well. Young and dumb, man. Young and dumb is scary. Young and dumb is a little scary. So when you have this team, they are legitimately vying for a wild card. Could the Baltimore Orioles be buyers at the deadline? No. They need to.
They use this season as a jumping off point for the team next year to say, because they at the start of this season they were not thinking even 2023 is our year. They were probably eyeing 2024, but now they go into the winter saying 2023 we can compete.
They are competing in 2022 currently as of right now.
Yes, I know.
There's another wild card spot. They have their
that's short sight. If you're buyers at this deadline,
it depends
that's
what you're giving up.
On
but they to improve a little bit. I mean, their young guys are playing well. Their franchise catcher is in the big leagues, has acclimated and is playing well, and has obviously shown dividends to the entire team. So I'm not looking at the Baltimore Orioles even remotely the same anymore. Like, these guys have nothing to lose, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to play a team that has nothing to lose.
It's a hard road trip to start the second half with a doubleheader against the Astros, 3 games in Baltimore, and then 2 games against the Mets.
That's
it's a hard
crazy
road
that
trip
we just
to start
said that.
The second half.
It's crazy that the Orioles, but it is. It's no joke. Like, you have to take them seriously.
Yeah. And that's going to be like their World Series. Yankees at home after you've really just finished the first half strong. That's the Baltimore Orioles World Series next weekend.
I mean, it's a statement series for sure. They got Tampa this weekend, so let's see. Tampa just manhandled Boston, sweeping them in a 4-game set, and we'll see what the Orioles can do against Tampa. If they mow through Tampa, also going into the All-Star break, that is some serious momentum for that team. And yeah, as young as they are, man, they could keep it rolling. Young and dumb is a great place. Is a great place to be.
All right, that's going to wrap today's episode up. We've got a lot of content planned for All-Star Week. So we will do our regular Monday episode recapping the Red Sox series. We're going to do midseason grades and awards, probably release that on Tuesday. And then we also are working on a special Astros preview episode, which should be recorded early next week. TBD on that, but that should be up hopefully on Thursday ahead of the doubleheader return. Anything else you want to touch on, Scott?
That's it, man. I'm glad I could actually speak today and get back on the mic to talk about what I've seen in my COVID room for the past week.
Your COVID room. All right. We'll talk to you guys in a few days.